Are you ready to learn how to organize your week a little bit better as a virtual assistant? In this video, I'm going to dive through a few of the pieces of advice that I've given to our own virtual assistants at 2XU on how they can organize their life and their week a little bit better. And especially when you are a virtual assistant where you're kind of a little bit the right-hand person of your boss, of your client, basically, and you're doing everything everywhere all at once, and how to be able to put a little order in your life. The first thing you want to do is to brain dump. This is essentially, you can put a timer on your phone for like 10 minutes, but writing every single thing that pops up in your head of either things you need to do, things you need to remind yourself or even your client. Basically, almost anything that pops up in your head that you've kind of had stuck in there, you want to write down on a piece of notebook, type it out, put it on your iPad, whatever it looks like for you. But the purpose of this is to empty things out of your brain. Your brain is the worst place for you to store any information. So before we even get to the part of organizing or looking at what happened in the last week, you want to first do a good brain dump. That way you don't have to feel like you have to replicate something, or you don't have to feel like, hey, I think I forgot a few things. You've already done that first and foremost. Next is you want to review the week before. You want to go through the things so you're able to get done, things that are pending because you haven't gotten it done, or the things that are pending because you're still waiting for other people, and anything and everything that is essentially in the later pile or things that still need to get done for this coming week. You also want to review what are the recurring things that are going to happen for this week as well. That way you can make sure that it is part of the next step, which is starting to organize everything that you've collected so far. Now, there's 3 different ways that you can organize things depending on what actually works for you. The first one is organizing them by theme. Now, this is honestly the way that I like to do it for myself. I know my assistant does it kind of the same way, where you organize the things that you want to get done by like, hey, these are all admin tasks, these are all marketing tasks, these are all sales tasks, whatever that looks like for you. You're batching the things that you've written down based on the category-ish, basically, that they fall in depending on what it is that you're currently working on. Now, the second way that you can organize is by priority, is looking at the things that you're currently doing and matching what are the things that I need to get done because it has a specific deadline and that has the highest impact. Now, you can use, of course, the Eisenhower matrix for this, of looking at what is the urgent and important things, making sure you get that done, looking at the not urgent, important, not important but urgent, and then of course anything that's not important and not urgent, you have to throw that away. You can think of it as like the first one is due, the second one is to schedule. So anything that is not urgent but is important, you want to put up a schedule of when it does become urgent, so it doesn't fall through the cracks. The third one is to honestly try to see if you can automate it and make it easier for yourself or delegate it to someone else within the company if that's possible for you. And the last category, if it's not important and not urgent at all, of course making sure that you either eliminate it from your list or ask your client is like, hey, I don't think this is relevant to us anymore. Should I still have this on our to-do list? And of course, you can categorize them by project or by outcome. So for example, if one of the projects that you have for this quarter is to up the engagement rate for LinkedIn, for example, like that is one of the projects. So every single thing that you put in your brain dump and what are the things that you did last week and also what are things you need to do this week, you put it under that LinkedIn category. Anything that's the project is to create like a company dashboard, everything goes into that category. So really depends on what makes sense for you, what kind of virtual assistant you are, and also how you naturally work. You can organize your tasks or outcomes for the week with those 3 areas. Next is you want to find your 20% or your frog. Now, there's different ways you can think about this. There's this adage, of course, that says eat the frog, do the hardest thing at the beginning of your day. However, I kind of have an edit to this, which is finding your 20%. And this is based off of the Pareto principle, which is basically that out of the 10 things that you might have on your to-do list, 2 of them will actually make the most impact out of the 8. Doesn't mean the 8 doesn't need to get done, but sometimes things from that 8 could be eliminated because you prioritize those first 2 tasks that will make your life way, way easier. So as a really good example for me, my 20% at the beginning of the month is to go ahead and actually plan out what content I want to put up on my YouTube channel. And it's 20% of the work because afterwards, everything else is a little bit easier. I just get to schedule a time in my day and be able to record these videos for you guys. And most of the work is already done. I just have to record and show up, and then my amazing editor takes care of the rest. My assistant posts it everywhere else. So that's my 20%, at least on that particular kind of outcome or project. Is then the best thing that you can do is you want to break down that 20% into smaller tasks. So then it's a little bit more biteable, it's a little bit more palatable, it's easier done. At least it looks like it can be easily done. And you can even ask AI, you can ask ChatGPT of, hey, can you go ahead and break down this task for me and give me what would be small steps that I could keep doing to be able to actually achieve it. So you can have ChatGPT as kind of your project manager or your coach. So then you can tackle that 20% a little bit easier. Next is then you want to check out your schedule for the week ahead. Now, depending again on the type of virtual assistant you are, you might just have daily syncs with your client and that's it. You might be sitting in on a couple of meetings to be able to give follow-up emails or to follow through. You might be meeting with different team members if you have team members. So whatever that looks like, you just want to have a good kind of have your calendar in front of you. Basically open it up, whether it's Google Calendar or Outlook, whatever it is, just have it open, because the next step is to start blocking out your time. Now, first is you want to block out your time for breaks, and this is something that I learned from one of my mentors, where he said, like, put in the time you're going to eat, put in the time that you're going to take a break, your lunch break, or if you're going to take yourself out for a walk, put in the times also for when your focus work is going to be. Put in blocks of your schedule on there. So for example, for me, my focus times is usually on Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays at around 5 o'clock, because at that point I would have gone through a lot of meetings and I would have some to-dos that I need to get done either before the end of the day or before the next day, whatever that looked like for me. So blocking up that time of when you're going to focus and get things done is going to be key. At this point, if you've already gone ahead and categorized your tasks, you can choose either, again, if it's by theme, priority, or the project, you can then start blocking out those times of like which one you want to focus on. So for example, for me, my block time for this Tuesday, as I'm recording this, is for this video, is for content as my theme. So I did the research on YouTube, found out, which titles work best for SEO, and I've already been planning, like, okay, this is what I want to say, writing out my script. So this is my time block for this. So you want to start actually not just scheduling a focus time, actually assigning what you want to do for each of those focus time. That way your brain kind of defaults to that, because you already set that up based on the information that you had at the beginning of the week. Now that might change later on, but the purpose of this is how to start your week at least a little bit organized than you were last week. Next two things you're going to add into your calendar is time for your habits. So for example, for me, I have blocked off 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on my Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays for being able to at least work out. Or you can also block off the times that you want to go out for a walk. And when you work from home, it's easy to forget that there's an outside world, because you kind of wake up, get to your desk, and that's basically it for the rest of your day. But I always recommend to take care of your mental health, take care of you, and to be able to do that, it could be going for a walk, it could be doing some sort of thing that you like to do. For me, during the pandemic, sadly, for example, for me, during the pandemic, when we can't go out, I would just grab my book and read. So whatever it is to kind of unwind, to take a little bit of your break, whatever that looks like for you, so you can take care of yourself, of your mental health, is going to be key to add into your calendar. Next is after the week has gone through, or while the week is going, you can start asking for feedback and adjusting. So you can present essentially your calendar to your client and say like, hey, this is how I prioritize the week. Is there anything that needs to be prioritize first? Is there anything that I might have misunderstood that we need to do first? So then for your client, they have the awareness basically of how you've scheduled out your week, so they know when to expect what, or basically when they can expect certain things from you on a certain day, just because you've already plotted it out on your calendar. And then you can adjust as needed as the week goes by, as other priorities pop up. At least you have the space in your calendar, rather than having to find a space in your calendar of when you want to do certain things, because you already plotted out for a week. And you can replace, for example, a certain focus time that you have on there for a project. Let's say another project popped up as a priority, you can move that in, as long as you are able to reschedule when you want to focus back onto that project. It's going to be no biggie. You're going to be able to flow through the week a little bit easier. Next is document. It's always good to have things documented on what you actually got done, what you still need to do, what are your bottlenecks, what are the things that you're waiting on for other people. It's always good to have a list actually written out. Again, your brain is the worst place for you to store things that I remember that later. You probably won't. Just write it down as much as you can. And finally, I always recommend to celebrate your wins as you wrap up the week. Go through the things you were able to get done. Give yourself a little treat, give yourself a little reward. Take care of yourself, because the more you take care of yourself, the higher the possibility that this becomes a long-term career for you, because if you take care of yourself, that comes back to you. The more you can give out to showing up every single day for the work that you are doing. Now, if you're still an aspiring virtual assistant, I do have a full course that you guys can grab on how to get started yourself, especially in how to use AI. And if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button right there. Comment below if you have any questions at all on how to organize your week ahead. And if you still haven't yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of my videos every Sunday and Thursday on how to work from home and how to have a business from home, which you guys can check out those two playlists right here and the latest video right here. Hope you guys have an amazing day, and remember that small steps matters, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!